These are 20 of the hottest tools that you're going to find right now at Home Depot, and every single one is under $30, including this little hidden gem from Ryobi and this Klein tool that has gone absolutely viral and Home Depot shoppers can't get enough. Let's go. If you'd like to check out any of these tools I showed today, there'll be a link in the description, the pinned comment, and of course that shop button right here on YouTube is probably the easiest way to find those. And then for my TV viewers, I'll put a QR code right there that you can scan and go to check out all of these tools. Now, let me show you what I got. Number one on the list, don't freak out of the price because it shows $32.97, I think. This is a 4-pack though of Bessey clamps. You're getting 2 6-inch and 2 12-inch clamps. Now these Bessey bar clamps, or F clamps as I call them, are some of the best you can buy on the market. They're made by Bessey, which is a very reputable clamp brand. Everybody knows Bessey if you've been woodworking very long. These clamps have 600 pounds of clamping force and they come with that Bessey lifetime guarantee, which is always nice. And the reason I picked this is because there's 4 in here, and if you divide 4 by $32.97, you get $8 and change each, which is a very good price for these clamps, especially from Bessey because they are some of the best you can buy. Next on the list, chisels. Now there's a couple here to choose from. I went with the Stanley ones because they were less than $10 actually for a 3 set, and you get a 1/2 inch, a 3/4, and a 1 inch. Brought them in out of the box. They're fairly sharp. Like they're not like razor sharp, but they'll do the job if you need to do some roughing out. If you put a little bit of edge on one, it will make those nice wispy curls. Next is a DeWalt set. This set is about $25-ish for the 3 set. The handles are a little bit better here. The metal doesn't seem to be much different, honestly, just from using these, cutting, things like that. On both of these sets, if you sharpen them up, they do cut way better, obviously, than out of the pack. But out of the pack, both of them do a fair job. You will probably want to sharpen these if you're going to do much detail work. For under $30 for either one of these sets, so basically under 10 or under 25, these are both great options. Next up, I will look for some small parts organization under $30 because having things organized is nice. First thing I did was I saw one with an attractive price, and that was the Husky. I thought, man, that's a good price for these, until I picked it up. These things are not well made at all. The latches are really thin aluminum. I don't think they're going to last very long. It was just kind of jinky feeling. And then the insides were just really cheap plastic. You could tell these are just very, very cheap, and I wouldn't pay $20 for these. However, the rigid ones I've had for years, and when I saw them, they were like 29 bucks. I thought, that's a solid deal. I keep a ton of small parts in these. They're actually built into my workbench. And then on the bottom one, I keep this. This is my Dowelmax jig with all of my dowels, things like that, all nice and organized. Now, these are extremely well made. The lids are really nice, robust. You can stand on these with no issues. They have nice little handles on the side. The latches are really nice and beefy, so they're really going to lock down. For $30, these are extremely hard to beat. And these are handles you can use, but they also lock together. So if you get more than one, you can actually stack these on top and interlock them. Next up, this was absolutely an impulse buy. When I was walking by, I saw these jigsaw blades from Diablo, and I was like, yeah, I could use a set. So I picked these up mainly because you got various ones in here. Typically, I only buy wood blades, but every now and then I need to cut something metal, or I need a general purpose blade. So I picked up this set, very nice. I have used these Diablo jigsaw blades in the past, and they're really, really good. I don't think they're as good as the Festool blades, which I really think are the best, but they are also wildly expensive at about $50 a pack. These, much more affordable, and they do a good job. Next, probably one of the most handy tools I've ever bought, and it stays in my pocket, the Milwaukee Fast Pack. Now they have these actually in a 2-pack right now, and I think it's a really good value because I love these things. It has a nice utility knife. I use these all the time around the shop to open boxes, unbox tools, things like that, or all your Amazon boxes your wife orders. Really good for opening those. It also has a nice little multi-tool on the other side that locks in place. And it has a Phillips and flathead screwdriver. I use these all the time. All the time. So that's why it always stays in my pocket. And it has a bottle opener. So if you drink Topo Chicos or whatever, you could open those up. Really nice. Keep in my pocket right there. Next, 2 Ryobi tools under $30 that are absolutely amazing, especially this one. First, this fan. Now this is kind of an unassuming Ryobi tool. A lot of people kind of skip over. But for the price, they're actually quite nice. They have a nice clip on there so they can clip to most anything that the clip will fit on, which is really good, especially if you're camping or if you go to ball games. All 3 of my kids did baseball and softball. It's hot. This would be a nice addition just to bring along to move some air. You could also use these just to move air in spaces that need it. Like for instance, we had a leak on one of our toilet valves underneath the toilet was leaking. We didn't know it until it was too late, obviously. And so to help dry that up, throw the fan in there, let it move some air around, which is why you see no trim here. It's because it all got ruined by that nice leak. Perfect addition for camping or any outdoor activity, or even in the shop just to help stir the air up. Next, I didn't know Ryobi made this little jewel, and for under $30, absolutely fantastic. This is a nice little inflator. Comes with several different tips, so if you need to air up footballs, basketballs, stuff like that around the house, or even bicycle tires, that sort of thing. But it will also air up regular car tires. We just got, like last night, the first cool snap of the year, so it's starting to cool off a little bit. When that happens, your tires typically deflate a little bit, or the air pressure goes down in them. So nice to be able to air them up right here at home without having to go to the service station with this little inflator. My wife's tire was actually quite low. I need to get that checked. I was able to add plenty of air there. I stopped it at 32 pounds just because when it warms up, it's going to expand a little more. And then on my truck, big old beefy tires there, it aired that up just fine too, all the way up to 35. And you can set the pressure with that plus and minus. So I set it at 35 and it auto shut off at 35 pounds. If you don't have one of these and you have a stack of Ryobi batteries, it would be great to throw one of these in the vehicle, especially for road trips or even RVs, campers, that sort of thing. It's a handy little jewel right here. Next, probably some of the best, most precise layout tools that are absolutely on a budget, and they're from Win. I was just seriously impressed with these when they come out about a year and a half ago. I showed them on the channel, and Outlaw Effect, they sold out everywhere, and for good reason. They're absolutely incredible for this price point. First, you can choose from different straight edges or rulers. They have a 36-inch one that I would actually recommend, or the 24-inch. Very, very nice straight edges from Win. They're absolutely dead accurate too, so you're not going to worry about it. Are they going to be off or anything like that? They're very, very nice. This is a very nice layout tool for just to have in the shop, especially for the prices of these. Most of these are under $20 or right around that $20 price mark. I can't say enough about these and how good of a value these are. They're very impressive. Next, Win clamping squares. If you're building boxes or cabinets or any other type of frames where you need the two pieces 90 degrees together while you get your joints put together, these are very, very handy to have in the shop. And for the price of this set, it's almost a no-brainer. If you like saving money on tools, sign up for my daily tool deals email. I send out every single day. It's absolutely free. First link in the description. Now let's get the rest of these deals. I think everybody needs some bits in the shop. In other words, drill bits, driver bits, that sort of thing. I found this while walking around Home Depot. This is a Milwaukee bit set, but there's several there that are actually under $30, like Makita. If you're a Makita fan, I like the Makita set as well. I chose this one because it has all the Torx, the Phillips, the flathead, and of course you get a couple of nut drivers, an extension. Just a really good value here, I think. That's why I picked this set up. But if you like Makita, or DeWalt even, I'll link to those as well, but I like this one. And the last Ryobi thing that I'll show before we get to that viral product is the Ryobi hot glue gun. Under $30, you could use these in the shop for a variety of reasons. Like, for instance, if you're trying to plane things, a lot of people use these to put templates together, or what I like to use it for is if I have a board that's kind of wampy-jawed and I got to plane it flat on top, I can put shims underneath the bottom of it, hot glue those down so they don't move with the hot glue gun, and then of course plane the top side and get that nice and flat. There's a lot of other uses for hot glue guns around the house and the shop, and it's just handy to have, and this thing gets super hot super fast. Now for the tool that's gone viral over the last couple of weeks, especially in my daily tool deals email that I told you about. If you haven't signed up for that, you need to. This is from Klein. This thing has a hidden feature that you don't see when you first look at this screwdriver. You think it's just a basic screwdriver, but it's not. It is a ratcheting screwdriver, so this little dial here, you turn it left or right for righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. So that's very convenient if you ever use a screwdriver. If you pull the screwdriver apart, it unveils a hidden feature. First, you got a nut driver in there, a 3/8" nut driver, and then it also has two more driver heads, a Torx head as well as a flat head. And on the other end, you have a 5/16" nut driver as well as the Phillips and a square drive. A little oily because it's brand spanking new. When I saw everybody buying this off the tool deals list, I thought, man, I got to check this out. Everybody's loving this thing. And it all fits in a nice compact package. But Milwaukee will not be outdone because they've got a couple of similar ones that I found at Home Depot as well. First, a regular screwdriver. Neither one of these Milwaukees are ratcheting, so that kind of is a little bit of a bummer, but they're still really nice. Now this Milwaukee screwdriver is a gift that keeps on giving. When you take it apart, you can see you have two different size heads, but you can also pull these out, flip those around, so you have 4 in every one of these, and you have 2 of these that slide back in together. And then each of these are nut drivers that you can use as well. And you can actually use that for putting the wrench on. Now this Milwaukee nut driver is pretty cool because you get 6 different nut driver heads all on here. So you can see this has 1/4, 5/16, 3/8, 7/16, and 1/2 and 9/16. The top one you just pull out and rotate it to get to the different size. On the bottom ones you can release this and then the arrow pushes down, so you're going to just take them off and then you can put them on the top. When you're done, just assemble it all back together, and it's all in one nice tight little package. All three of these, under $30, very hard to beat. I like the Klein. I also like the nut driver from the Milwaukee. I think the Klein beats out this Milwaukee screwdriver, 13-in-1 screwdriver. I like the Klein better. This Milwaukee stacked nut driver is kind of standing on its own here. I like that one as well. Next up, there's some accessories from Milwaukee Packout that take them to the next level. I've had this wall organization storage unit here for a couple of years now, and I absolutely love it. There's some new accessories that come out over the last few months or year or so that really level this thing up. And I purchased these for under $30 at Home Depot. First, a single hook, and the way these work, they just snap into this wall plate, and then you turn that little knob and it locks it so they won't come out. So if you have things that you hang on there and you pick up off of there, if you've ever used pegboards, those pegs come out and it's very annoying. This won't happen because you got it locked in place. So that's a really cool design. This little single hook is great for hanging various tools or any other accessory that you need. You could even hang a cable or a cord or something like that on there, or your favorite square. They also have this multi-hook. This has 7 hooks, which is great if you want to hang a set of wrenches on there, or even some random tools, things like that. Good to have options to mount several things to the wall. I've noticed that since I've put a lot of my storage on the wall, it's much easier to find this stuff when I need it. And of course, you can also use it to store your regular Packout boxes, which is what I like to use. And they do sell this wall plate in just a double row, or even the wide one like I have behind me here, and then you can use those to mount various places around the shop and set up your hooks and accessories like that. This little gem can come in handy around the house, and it's under $30. This is a little Ryobi laser level. I didn't know they made this. This has a regular bubble level on there, so you can use that just to use it for a level, but it also has a laser on there, and this laser goes up to about 15 feet, they say. It has 2 little prongs that kind of push through the back, so be careful with that. That's for sticking in the drywall if you need to really push that and hold that in place. And then the button is actually an on-off button, so you don't have to hold that down to keep the laser working. But this is great if you're hanging pictures, cabinets, you need to get something very level. This might be a good option for you. And then no, these are absolutely not my Cowboys jerseys. Not a Cowboys fan, but Chandler is, and he's my social media director. So I let him hang those up. Was I wrong? Let me know in the comments. Now these 2 accessories will work with Milwaukee Packout, but you don't have to have Packout to use them. These are magnetic trays. I love having magnetic trays around the shop to keep up with bits, screws, anything like that, especially if you're working on a project. There's a lot of tiny, small screws and bolts and things. You just throw them in the tray so you don't lose them on the workbench, knock them off, stuff like that. That's why I love having these. But like I said, you don't need Packout to use these because they will stick to any metal surface because they're magnetic. And a lot of times that's what I do. I'll stick them inside a workbench or something like that. But if you do have Milwaukee Packout, they will work on the wall mounts, so you can use them to just keep bits and things like that mounted on the wall, or even on the top of your Milwaukee Packout boxes. There's a single square and a double, just depending on what size you need. They have both of these. Both of these are also under $30 each. Now there's also another drill attachment that's always very handy to have, and that's the DeWalt right angle attachment. There's a couple of different versions here. I've had this one for a very long time. I've used it quite a bit. It's a really nice one, but DeWalt also has kind of a flexible shaft mixed with that right angle attachment that is also under $30 that I saw at Home Depot. That could be just what you need. If you like these tools, 20 tools from Amazon, all under $20, all awesome. Go check them out. Click in that box, get you the big old virtual fist bump.